All right, what's up, friends and family? YouTube's Pastor Bob. Uh, I did a video the other day. I promised that I'd play a little bit of this guitar. This is a Firefly Elite. I custom ordered this from Firefly. It's candy apple red. It's a beautiful guitar. And I figured I'd just play a little bit, see what you think of it. Think of the sound. This is a PV Classic 52 amp. I don't know if you guys ever played with these, so. Uh, it's not out of people's realm. I mean, you can pick these up for around 500 bucks, so it's not like it's not attainable. Um, I usually play through this or my Fender Deluxe. Um, I got a Valve King down there. I got a Performer 650. I got a lot of amplifiers, but usually, I play through one of these tube amps that are within the realm of cost. Now, I tell you, I think you should really think about the type of amplifier that you have. You should buy a good quality amplifier. I think that makes an immense amount of difference when you're playing a guitar, no matter what the guitar. I mean, amplification is really important. I can't stress that enough to people. Amplification and the right pickups. Now, these pickups are okay, but they don't vibe with me. I'm used to a specific type of pickup. But as far as the fit and finish and the quality of this guitar, outstanding. They did an outstanding job. Um, and that being the case, let me bring up a quick point to you. I'm not going to get into politics, but I am going to say this. I was watching a thing with President Trump, Uncle Don today, and it hit home. I was like, oh man, they're going to go to 35% tariffs with China, and there's going to be tariffs with other countries too. And what we got to take into consideration as guitar players or luthiers or repairmen or whatever you're doing, right? Maybe you're just kicking around modding different stuff. Take into consideration prices are going to go up. Period. They're going to go up. Maybe some of these guitars like this that cost me $270. After I think it was around that. Maybe it could have been a little bit more. You might see these guitars climbing up there. They might be 300, 350, plus shipping. So on the secondary market, and they only make so many of them at a time, right? God knows they might reach $500. And another thing that we got to take into consideration is these tariffs going to cause a squeeze on how many different guitar companies are going to still be producing guitars, right? I think that these guys who have been having a heyday putting stickers over headstocks to try to hide the Gibson emblem on a headstock to get them in, what they call them, Chipsons, right? And they think that they're the greatest thing since Swiss cheese. Look, they're not a Gibson, period. I'm just going to say it right now. I own Gibsons. I own a lot of Gibsons, right? And I'm just going to tell you, they're not a Gibson. Are they good? Yeah. Are they well made? Yeah. But they're not the same materials. They're not made the same way. They're not the same materials. Are they good products? Absolutely. There's not a problem with them. Are they the same pickups? No. Same potentiometers? No. Same type of frets? No. Are they the same machine heads? No. Is the tailpiece and the stop tailpiece, is that the same? No. Is the bridge the same? No. None of that stuff is the same, guys. Period. There's specifications for everything, right? Gibson to Gibson because it is a Gibson. Are you going to get close to the sound? Yeah, probably. Can you buy pickups that will get you close to the sound? Probably. But a Gibson is a Gibson for a reason, right? Period. Let's get that out of the way. I'm not a hater Gibson. I love Gibson guitars. I've had good ones and I've had bad ones. So, no different than a Paul Reed Smith or an Ibanez or whatever it is. If it's a copy, it's a copy. The copy can't never be exactly the same. Never. It's not going to happen. So, in my world, I buy these because I think the craftsmanship is outstanding for what you're getting. Outstanding craftsmanship for what you're getting. You know, A Gibson that looks like this with all the detail work, if they were using their woods um, and putting their electronics and everything, yeah, be very expensive. You probably pay, anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 for a guitar like this with their stuff. But there's different qualities of stuff, you know. So it has something to say, the price of diminishing return. But even though I'm pretty much a fan of what they're doing at Firefly. They don't make a whole lot of them. There's limited quantities. You get them, you get them. You don't get them, you're gonna have to pay on a secondary market for those people who want to sell them. There's a lot of people who don't want to sell them. They just like them and they collect them. And I get that because I do that too. So, with that being said, if prices are going to go up, which they are, right? Just get that set in stone in your head. It's going to happen, right? Then for me, I'm going to have to sell a few of my guitars, which I don't do. I think I have every guitar that I've ever did a video on, except for maybe one or two which I've given to my brother. Outside of that, I don't sell them. They're my babies, and that's just the way it is. It's a lot of guitars, 160, I don't know, 160 some guitars I got. So I might end up having to sell a few so that I can still get some other things to bring to the channel, right? That's what's going to have to happen. I don't have sponsors. I don't do all that stuff. I'm in my own little niche. I'm in my own little groove here. I do my own thing. I don't do this for money. I'm not going to promote something that I don't believe is good. I have many years of experience in building and fixing guitars. I've worked in many different, guitar stores over the years. I've done a lot of guitars for a lot of famous people. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to degrade myself or whatever, ruin my image of everything that I've worked so hard for my whole life to try to sell some products to put a couple pennies in my pocket. And make you guys think that you're getting something that's great when it's not. And I tell people, even though I get a good guitar, doesn't mean you're going to get a good guitar. I mean, it's just the way it is. I show you what I got. And if it's a good guitar and it sounds good and it brings to the channel and I decide to sell one, I will come on and I will do a video on that guitar before I, post it on eBay or wherever I'm going to sell it. I promise you that. I will bring it to the channel first before I sell it. I don't have it on the radar as of yet, but probably come summertime or whatever, I may end up start selling a few of them. I'm going to see what the market does. So that way I can still buy other guitars and bring them to the channel. That's what I have to do. Plus, I have to buy an excavator, a mini excavator. And that's going to be a lot of money. So sometimes your needs outweigh your wants. And unfortunately, that's life, right? I do many different things in my life. I'm not just into guitars. I'm into many different things. And I enjoy that. And being retired, once you get to your retirement age and you've worked hard your whole life and you've sacrificed so much for people and not ask for anything in return. The only thing I ask for now in retirement is that, hey, when I want to do it, I do it. If I don't want to do it, I don't do it. And that's just the way it is. I call it how I see it. If people don't agree with me, I don't really give a rat's ass, to be honest with you. I don't. Because I'm not going to talk out my ass about something or try to promote things that I don't truly believe in my heart are good items. Period. I just won't do it. I can't do that. I'd feel dirty. I feel like I'm cheating people. And there's other people out there, they put on all kinds of stories and smoke shows and bullshit, you know, try to draw people into buying stuff that's crap, and promote all these companies. Well, they're getting paid and they're getting free gear. I'm not. And if I was, I'd tell them right off the bat. I say, look, if your guitar is a piece of shit, it's a piece of shit. And that's just the way it is. I'm not going to promote your junk. It would be just like a piece of equipment, which you'll see something here coming up pretty soon that you're going to be shocked that I bought. Yeah, it's killing me, but you'll see why I bought it anyway. I bought it to save some money, but you stay tuned. Within the next 6 weeks, you're going to be seeing me do a video on it. You're going to be, wow, he's into everything. Yeah, I am. But anyway, what I'm saying to you is, don't get off track. Be cautious. Keep your ears open. Have an attentive ear. They say the attentive ear receives the sound from an instructive tongue, which is thence kept within the repository of the faithful breast. And thus should man live. And I believe that. I believe you need to listen. And you need to watch people, right? And make sure that they're not doing it for, their own self-gratification and lining their pockets. They're doing it that they really care about you. And there are truly people out there on YouTube that do videos. I mean, truly. Because they care. They want to teach you. There's luthiers out there that teach people, and God bless them, And they, some of them may not have sponsors, but they have a lot of followers, and they may make a few pennies. Well, that information, that knowledge didn't come for free. But these fly-by-night guys that pop up, they've only been playing guitar for 5 or 6 years, right? They get on YouTube and they think they know everything about guitar. Everything about the building, the frets, the fretboard, the woods, this and that, because they read something on the internet. Look, there's a lot more to it than that. Luthiers have a lot of tools, right? Guitar techs have a lot of tools. That's just the way it is, right? And if you see a shop that's clean, either he's the most articulate person for keeping his shop clean, or he ain't busy, or it's a prop, one or the other. Just the way it is, right? But there's a lot of YouTubers out there that, they've been doing this for a long time. They've worked really hard, right? Guitar techs, guitar players, guitar luthiers, they've worked really hard their whole life, right? And they honestly are trying to bring information to you because they care. They care because they don't want the art to be lost. And it's important to them. There really is people like that. And, I would tell you, those people are important. But there's a lot of fly-by-night guys that are just trying to get in there, get a bunch of followers, tell you a bunch of bullshit that you can read yourself. I mean, some people could say that about me. I'm just bringing reviews on guitars that I own, that I buy. That's it. What I think of them, right? And if I build them, or if I fix them, or if I'm trying to reinvent the wheel, because luthiers have a habit of doing that, right? Trying to make things a little bit better or fine tune them a little bit better. And that's just what you do, right? That's the spice of life. And I would tell people to do that. You might find something, you might invent something that would change the course of history in guitar playing. And I would invite you to do that. Honestly. I honestly would invite you to do that. That's important. But there's a lot of fly-by-night guys, If it looks like bullshit and, it sounds like bullshit, then it's probably bullshit. That's just what my grandfather used to tell me, So take it for what it's worth. Just be careful. That's all I want you to do. You don't have to believe me. I'm not going to say any names. You'll have to feel it in your heart whether them guys feel like good guys, like they know what they're doing, like they're taking the time to investigate things, like they have the years of experience. Look, just because somebody shreds a guitar doesn't make them a guitar tech. Doesn't make them a luthier. Like myself, I'm not a great guitar player. I don't read tab and all that. I play by ear. And I taught myself that. I'm not the greatest guitar player in the world, but I'd like to say that I'm a moderately good luthier. I've worked really hard for it. Nobody gave it to me. I've been doing it for many, many, many years. I earned the right to become a luthier. I didn't just go to some school and have somebody teach me. I had to earn somebody's trust before he taught me. And I consider that an honor and a privilege to be able to learn from people like that. Those days, it seems like, ever since the internet was created, it's like people lose touch of that reality, you know? People demand things, you know? They ain't demanding shit from me, I can tell you that right now. I do this because I love people and I love to teach people and I like to make them know, that their hard-earned money is either a waste or it's worth a shot, you know? Um, there's a difference between people who buy things to flip them to make money, and then there's a difference between the guys who buy quality instruments uh, that want a modern platform because they can't afford to buy the real thing. And then there's guys who come to the channel, they say, oh, you just bought a Gibson Les Paul. You got a smoking deal on that, right? Man, you know what? I've been waiting too. I think maybe it's time for me to buy one, right? And that's really what it's all about with me. Some people may agree and they don't disagree. That's fine. I still love you. I still love you. But we can agree to disagree. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I ain't dumb either. Been around a long time, been all over the world. So, this ain't my first rodeo. I come here because, man, some people, they say to me, oh, Pastor Bob, you should reach out to sponsors and all that. I said, look, man, if somebody notices my channel and they reach out to me and say, hey, we think you're onto something and we appreciate your honesty, like Donner had done that to me, as a matter of fact. They gave me a couple discounts. Somebody was watching from Donner. And I appreciated it, right? And I did something for Donner to save them a lot of money because somebody was doing something to Donner and I didn't appreciate it and I found out about it and I called their corporate office and I let them know. So, hand washes hand. You got to help one another in the industry, right? That's what you do. You don't stand back and let people do shit. That's why, the world is the way it is because people don't want to get involved. They're scared. They got spine lips when they're typing on the internet, you know what I mean? Or they got the headset on. But when it comes face to face, when push comes to shove, they don't have any spine. Well, I believe in guitar playing and guitar building and guitar fixing. You got to have spine. You can't let people just walk all over you. Like the billions and billions of Chinese guitars that come in that want to say Gibson, I think that needs to be over with. Okay, if you want to make a nice Les Paul style like this and have your own style headstock and bring great quality instruments, I believe absolutely. I believe that free market stuff is good because it just pushes the next guy to the next level. But to put Gibson on a headstock or Fender or Ibanez or Paul Reed Smith, I just think that's atrocious. It takes them years and years and years of establishment to make those guitars and to fine tune it, whether you like them or not, whether you like the cost or not, right? They deserve their respect because you wouldn't have any of these other guitars, these fly-by-night guitar companies, right? If it wasn't for them. They are, the heritage of it all. So before people, point the finger and strike out, oh, well, they make one that looks... Before you say that, think about saying, you know what? I do respect Gibson, and I do respect, Fender, and I do respect Ibanez, and I do respect Paul Reed Smith because they worked hard. They came from, the bottom up. All those companies did. They didn't just pop up being a multi-billion-dollar company. They had to work hard over the years, and some of them failed. Some of them had their windfalls. So I think there should be a bit of respect to them all. They're not always going to do it right. Some of them have some weird business tactics, and they do things that maybe some people wouldn't believe are morally right, and then people want to whine, bitch, and nag and have drama over it. Look, if it's something that I buy and it's wrong, like I waited 50 some years to get my first brand spanking new Les Paul standard, and the one I got was used. and it was scratched, and it wasn't right. That's not what I bought. It pissed me off, right? Now, I don't know who to blame. I just think that guitars should be inspected no matter where they're coming from. Every company that's selling guitars needs to inspect them before they send them out to the customers. Period. Maybe they don't need to have a setup guy. Maybe they don't need to have a luthier or a tech like Sweetwater. I think that that's a really good promotional thing to do, and get builds confidence in your customer base. But at least look at it. If you're selling somebody something new, then sell them something new. And if you screw up, make it right by them. Send them another guitar, you know, give them a gift certificate or something, or a discount on their next purchase or something, but make it right. That shows that you consider that person valuable. Otherwise, you're going to lose a customer, and you're going to lose that customer forever. And let me tell you what, there's nothing more damaging than people voicing their opinions and expressing how they feel to other people. And all it takes is one person talking to another person about it, and before long, hey, John, he bought a Gibson Les Paul and it was shit, and this is the reason, this is where they bought it, and then it all gets blown out of proportion. And businesses can lose hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, just because of one incident. And imagine if that was you, right? So I try to be fair. And when I got the replacement guitar, it was perfect. It was what I wanted. It should have been that way the first time. And I'm totally pleased with my purchase. Absolutely. But it just, it hurt my heart because I'd waited so long. And as a luthier that can build, exotic guitars, and probably a guitar as good as a Gibson, I'm not going to say it will be exactly like a Gibson, because that's impossible. Because I don't know their methods of drying. I don't know where they source their wood from. They use different techniques than me. They use machines, and I don't use certain types of machines. So there's a different technical aspect involved in it, and how I shape things and how I sand things. So I will never be able to copy one. It would take me a long, long time, and it's not worth it to me. That's just stupidity. And that's why I respect Gibson, I respect Fender, and I respect Paul Reed Smith highly. I hold them in high regard. I don't kiss their ass. I just hold them in high regard because I can respect the amount of dedication and love and love for the art, mostly, of building beautiful instruments so that others can be pleased by the music that is performed from it. Really, I really do. I really believe that. When I got into building, I've been around it my whole life. But when I got into building, it was because I love to work with my hands and build things. And I thought, wow, this is awesome. How do they do that? How does that happen like that? How do they get sound from that? So it really intrigued me, and that's how I got into it. I'd been around it my whole life, but I wanted to know more, because I wasn't getting enough information. So now that I have that information, I've been doing it for a long time, I can definitely respect those major companies. But they still screw up like the rest of us. So try to always be fair in your judgment and your criticism with these companies. I would ask you to do that. That's just the morally right thing to do. If it's shit, then say it's shit. And say, you need to be, a little more apprehensive about putting out better product and making sure that when it comes off the line and you're going to sell this for X amount of money, that it's worth it to me, the consumer, for that much money. And that I'm not going to be able to get something somewhere else that's comparable, that's better. Show me that it's worth that money. And when you do, I'll give you high praise. And that's what's important. I really, really believe it. So that's my rant. I think it's a logical rant, but be cautious about what you're purchasing. Don't just buy something because it's cheap, guys. Don't. Look, let me teach you something. You know, I know sometimes it's hard because I'm right along with you, right? If a store had a used Gibson Les Paul, right? Say it had a used studio, and you knew that used studio, you could get it for $750, right? But then you seen a brand new one that you could get for $250, but it's not a real Gibson, right? But in your heart, you really want the Gibson, right? And then you can't wait because you want to have something cool, right? Something cool. Well, if in your heart you really want the Gibson, then maybe what you need to do is struggle a little bit more, right? Eat a little crow, be a little more patient, save your money, and buy the guitar that you want. I don't care what name is on a headstock, it doesn't matter a rat's ass to me. What matters to me is that you get what you really want in your heart. Because if you don't, you're not going to be able to fill that void. And you're always going to want it. And if you're always buying all these other little ones, if you're testing them out to see something, or you're a tech or a luthier and you try to figure things out, and you're trying to help maybe people who are not ever going to be able financially to be at the level to buy high quality guitars, yeah, that's cool. I think if you have financial means to be able to do that, and that's really what I do, I think that's a great thing. But if you're buying something for yourself, my God, buy what you really want in your heart, because you're never going to be able to fill that void. I am just so honest about that. And I've told so many people, I've turned people away. They want me to, oh, can you build me this and that? Because I want it like, a Strat, or I want it. I said, I can't build you that. I can build you what I can build you. But you want exotic woods. Those exotic woods change the tone, right? They change the depth of the sound. And I try to explain certain things to them, and they don't get it. I said, why don't you just save up and buy that if that's what you want? Well, because I want these woods. Okay, well, then you're not going to get that. And you're probably always going to be craving for that. So be wise about your decisions, please. I try to be your friend. I'm not just another guy on YouTube trying to do videos and make bucks. Not what I'm about. Okay. I'm here to try to advise you, making right choices. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, but I'll always try to do my best to advise you in the right path to go down. And if you ever have any questions, or you see something and you say, oh, what do you think of it? Now, I can't really tell, and I've told people this in the past that have reached out to me and asked me and sent me pictures. I say, well, it looks good, but I don't know what it sounds like. I mean, I'd have to really have it in my hands. Because just because something looks good doesn't mean it's going to play good. Doesn't mean it's going to sound good. I don't know how many hundreds of guitars I've had that happen with. So, you know, I can only give you so much advice. The rest of it really comes down to you, you know. And just because your buddy has it doesn't mean it's going to be, you know, that good for you, you know. And people say, oh, yeah, well, all the good guitars are 59s and the 58s and the 60s. Look, forget about all that crap. Forget about all of that. And look, if they want to rant and rave on that level over $250,000, $500,000, $1 million guitars because, you know, Fannie Mae Brewski owned it and, she rubbed her boobs on it or whatever, right? And they want to pay that kind of money, let them. Doesn't mean that you can't pay, $500, $1,000, $2,000, or $5,000 for a super well-made, well-built monster guitar that will play just as good, sound just as good. Sure, you can't go back in time, but you know what? We don't play with the same money as they play with. Look, I can respect them if they've earned that much money and they did it honestly and they didn't do it deceitfully. Okay? And that's what they got and they're happy with it. Hey, more power to them, you know? I think that's great. But the whole look at me, look at me, look at me shit, you know, that's pathetic. It really is. It's pathetic. So, you know, don't get trapped up in that stuff, right? No, don't get trapped up in it, you know, because all it's going to do is piss you off and make you poor. Stay within your box, right? Play within your level, build within your level, modify within your level. Don't try to go outside of your realm of doing things, you know. That's what I've always tried to do. There are much better luthiers than me. There are much better guitar techs that are doing stuff today that are on a different level, right? Uh, and I'm not embarrassed to say that. But then again, I got tricks they probably don't even know about. You know, does that make me better than them? Absolutely not. I'd rather be friends with them and we could trade secrets. And I've done that a lot over the years. Because if you're only trying to raise yourself up, you know, it just makes you a conceited person, right? But when you try to raise everybody else up with you and you all go together, there's power in numbers, you know? So take that for whatever you want to take it for. Hopefully the information will make you think a little bit different, be a little wiser in the things that you do in life. And it goes with everything, not just guitars. You know, it goes with anything that you're doing. Okay, if you're putting up a fence or buying a dog or putting a new roof on your house, all those things, you know, consider everything that you buy and everything and the people that you're hiring. That's really, really important. And you'll find one day that little bit of information will save you a lot of money and a lot of hassle and a lot of heartache. I guess that's it. I'm just going to play a little bit because I've been ranting and raving. Sorry. I don't usually do that, but I just want to try to protect you as much as I can. You know, if I can, give you some information. But I'll just play a little. Turn the volume down here. It has great sustain with the pickups. I can't believe it, to be honest with you. I mean, do they sound as good as a Gibson? No. I'm not even going to go any further. Is it a good guitar? Yes. Is it well made? Does it have good quality materials? Yes. Is the finish good? Yes. But they have to cut corners somewhere, right? To make money. I think it could use better machine heads. I think it could use better pickups, better potentiometers. You know, the hardware stuff in that area, yes. But it'll never be a Gibson Les Paul. Period. It's not the same thickness. It doesn't have the same sourced materials. It's not dried the same. The paints are not the same. A lot of differences. Is it got a cool factor? Absolutely. Is it beautiful? Absolutely. Is it worth what I paid? Absolutely. Can I turn it into a shredding beast? Absolutely. So that, you know, for me, I think, you know, for people who don't have a whole lot of money or people who are just getting into it, but they're not quite ready for the whole Gibson Les Paul studio or standard thing. They're not ready to put out that money because they're not really vested that deeply into music. I think it's a good way to go. I think there's a lot of us YouTubers out there that can definitely give you information about what pickups may work, better in that type of uh, guitar. Some different ideas of way to go, how to save a little bit of money but still have a good quality pickup or potentiometer. Um, but there's some things that you just don't cheap on, right? If it has a certain sound that's coming out of a certain type of pickup, well, then you have to go to that brand, you know, 9 times out of 10. Although there are some pretty good pickups being wound out there, um, and they do sound really good, but they're not going to be exactly the same because there's differences in the type of wire, the tensile strength of that wire, how it's wound, right? So there's a lot of things that are involved in that, and I just want to bring that to your attention. I guess I really didn't get a whole lot of guitar playing done, but I think maybe the other information that I shared with you is probably more important than the guitar playing. But I will say that Firefly does make good guitars. I recommend them. Uh, I think I've only had one or two that were really, a turd, but that was really mostly because of shipping. It really didn't have anything to do with. Only one time the the neck was off, and this is in the very beginning when Firefly guitars first came out. The neck shape was real off. It didn't feel symmetrical to me when I was running my hand down it. Right, it felt like somebody didn't spend enough time shaping the neck correctly. It just didn't feel right. And one thing about guitar players, when they get used to a certain style of guitar, a certain thickness, a certain radius, they can feel that instantly. Whether the neck shape is bigger or smaller or shaped flatter or whatever it may be, right? It should feel symmetrical. And they're going to know that instantly. And I instantly ran my hand down. I was like, oh man, I got a turd. I was upset. And I let them know. And, they fixed the problem. So it wasn't that they didn't fix the problem. I think that that's an important part of it, customer service. It's not the initial thing, it's when things are not right and things go wrong. So, but all in all, as a brand, I think Firefly, you know, I think the Firefly man is, come a long way and they're doing a really good job. They're not trying to be bigger than what they are. If you've looked over the years, if you buy Firefly guitars, um, I think that they have definitely uh, bettered themselves over the years, to be honest. And what I mean by that is the quality has improved. They've listened to us. They've made the improvements that was necessary to make it a better guitar. I like the fact that they only make so many of them, right? Some people say, oh no. Well, there is something about making limited amounts of them, okay? Uh, there is something behind that. They're not trying to go out of their wheelhouse. And they do teach people, well, you got to be on your guard. You got to be there when they come in, right? And remember, it is what it is. And it also helps people that if they no longer want that guitar, or they can sell it and it's worth it still. There's still value in that. Unlike a lot of guitars coming overseas, they lose a lot of their value right off the bat. Fireflies don't seem to do that. And that's something that you got to remember. So there is value in the Firefly. I really do see that. But in the industry in a whole, man, I don't even know how many fly by night guitar companies and names I've ever seen come and go. Some of them I don't even remember. So, anyway, I'm sorry I didn't get a whole lot of guitar playing done for you guys. I think the information was probably more important than the guitar playing anyway. And I hope that you enjoy this experience, and I hope you have a life filled with um, a lot of love and inspirational playing. And I really do hope and pray that one day you get the guitar. Whether the guitar costs you $50 or $50,000, whatever you could afford. When you get that guitar, that just means the most to you. That's what I hope for, because in the end, that's what's most important. Anyway, guys, I'm going to head off and get myself something to eat because I'm starving Marvin. We'll catch you on the next video. Please like, share, subscribe. Take care. God bless. It's Pastor Bob, and I am out of here. See ya.